Hello, this is Santa Clarita. This is Dr. Gregory Jenkins from KHTS. Our number is 298-5487. I'm here with Dr. Judith Curts, and we're going to be waiting for phone calls on talking about different subjects today. I am an internist on Lyons Avenue, and Dr. Curts has an office in Valencia and Beverly Hills. So please call in if you have any medical questions, therapy questions, or just any questions. So, Dr. Curts?
Relationships, sexuality, intimacy, that's kind of my bag of tricks. And delighted to be here. Do you know what this is? This is June 1st.
Wow.
I know. And summer for me starts June 1st. It doesn't start on the 22nd, I think, when it's supposed to. It starts June 1st for me. And people are wearing less, they're going to the beach. It seems to be people are just so much more casual. What do you think?
Well, I was thinking, you don't look like you're wearing summer clothes today. You're wearing a black dinner dress.
A dinner dress.
Yeah.
Well, you must take me to dinner then. So what are we going to talk about today? How are we going to have fun and get people to know stuff?
Well, I hope that we get some call-ins because we're excited about answering questions. But we have some different things to talk about. I know Dr. Curts and I were talking earlier, and we were thinking about what to focus on today. And Dr. Curts?
Well, we're pretty good at this because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. And if you don't call in, and please do, we really want to hear from you. It's an interactive show, and we want you to be part of it, not just us. But hey, if you don't call in, we'll be happy to talk. And we were talking about some subjects that people have brought up to us, whether it's in our offices or just casually meeting people. And I think you've got something that you want to talk about today, and I'm going to talk about cheating. Isn't that awful? Cheating. I've heard a lot of people talk to me about that. Many times it brings people into my office. So cheating is a big thing, and if you all have any questions, concerns about that, let me know. And what's your stuff today? What if you're going to bring in?
Well, it's how cheating is painful, but also in my office I see patients that are addicted to certain drugs, opioids, OxyContin, marijuana, heroin. So I see these families and how they're torn apart. In this community, we have about one overdose death a month. From heroin.
In Santa Clarita?
Santa Clarita, yeah. Last year, two brothers were found unconscious on their front yard, on their front porch, and one passed away, and the other one is brain damaged. So luckily, the government's moving closer and closer to the quote-unquote SAVE shot, S as in Sam, AVE, SAVE, because that's a thing that neutralizes the narcotics and the heroin in your blood so that you can start breathing, because basically when you overdose you stop breathing because your muscles are paralyzed and your heart stops a few minutes later. So the good news, I think, for opioids and addicted people like narcotics and Vicodin and Norco you hear about, is that they have two newer medicines that work very well to prevent the patient or the person from using drugs. And one is an injection, and that injection is given once a month, and the other one is a little pouch of medicine which is put into your arm in the fatty part next to your chest, that's inserted with a little small incision, and it lasts for 6 months.
So what does that mean? You get the injection, and are you not able to feel the high, or does it help you to get off the drug? What?
It definitely helps you get off the drug, because what it does is that it binds up all the receptors for those narcotics and the marijuana and the heroin, etc. And so you can take a handful of pills and you won't get anything good out of it. Nothing like that you've been used to getting. So people stop using it because they're not getting the buzz that they've had before.
Let me ask you something. When people get that buzz, what happens to sex?
Sex is bad. Sex is bad when you're buzzed.
Why do it? I don't get it. I don't get it. I truly don't get it. We have two bad things about drugs, and we're talking about sex and drugs, which I think we have to pay attention to that. People are dying, and then they don't have good sex. So I'm not sure what the point is in doing drugs. Help me out here.
Yeah,
What's the
it
point?
doesn't. It makes the male or female anorgasmic, so they cannot have an orgasm. They can go through the motions, but they won't have an orgasm. So you can just understand what happened there.
I just help me out, somebody. If anybody's out there and you're just loving your drug, I mean, explain to me what it's doing for you. It might give you a nice feeling for a few minutes, but I just call me naive, or I think I'm smart because I'm not doing drugs anyway. And then, don't you make bad decisions when you're doing drugs?
Yes, you do. You certainly do. You do things that you wouldn't do otherwise. You all of a sudden you say, well, I don't think I'm drunk. I'll just drive home. Then you get in an accident, you die, or you get somebody hurt, or you get arrested for DUI. So those are kind of things your judgment just changes.
Okay, so would people then have affairs and drugs? Would you equate that? I know the sex isn't good, but would you equate doing drugs and then making bad decisions to cheat?
Well, I think that what will happen is that if you're anorgasmic with one person, you're going to go try to find somebody else that you can have an orgasm. But with those drugs, it's impossible.
Oh, I mean, listen, folks, I'm not seeing the point. I'm really not seeing the point. So tell me about I know that people do have an addictive personality disorder, and so they could try something, they could experiment, and I would think it would be someone who's maybe, when they're young, they're shy, and it makes them feel brave, either macho or sexy or something. It makes them feel really good about themselves. But then if they start trying it and the addiction grabs them, and you could die on this. So the shot sounds very, very promising.
Well, the shot or the implant are really great. The bad thing about them is they're very expensive. And then you'll have to get your insurance company to pre-authorize it. And more and more drug rehab centers are done throughout our community. They're going to have to start giving those medicines prior to discharge, because insurance companies don't want to pay for somebody to be in rehab 10, 12 times. And each one is a minimum of $30,000 a month. So every time they go back in, the insurance company loses money. That's not counting just the routine medical visits that people have while they're in rehab. So $30,000 a month, the insurance companies are probably going to start paying it. The most expensive one I've heard of is in Malibu, and this is only for 3 weeks. It's $72,000.
Say that again.
$72,000 for 3 weeks, so $24,000 a week.
And how do they get treated? Do they get
they
chef
get massages,
meals?
yeah. They get a view of the ocean. But the truth is that rehab is where you learn how not to have those kind of behaviors, and you need something to help you, because otherwise you relapse. So the shot's going to be great if we can get the insurance companies to pay for more people, because the shot is $1,800, $1,875, and you get a coupon for $500 off, and still have $1,375. So that's a lot of money.
However, it's not much money when you think about how much it costs for drugs. I mean, I don't know what it costs. I hear heroin is fairly cheap, and so that's the drug of choice today, I think, for many people, young people. Is that the case?
It's the drug of choice because it's easy to get. It's not because it's not much difference in price, but the state government, state of California, has this program called CURES, Cures, and it's an online reporting system. So if I write up a prescription for Vicodin, let's say, and the patient takes it to the pharmacy gives them the pills, the pharmacist puts that into the Cure system, so all physicians know what medicines everybody's taking when they show up. Because in the old days, we had doctor shopping. They'd go for one doctor with a bad problem, next doctor, and they just keep adding up the pills.
Right.
So now it's much harder to do that, and so that's why they're changing to heroin. And the bad thing about heroin is that it's unpredictable. What's in it, how much you're actually shooting. So there's so many problems with that that's why we have the overdose deaths in this community.
That's horrible. I mean, it's very, very sad. And addiction is a huge problem in our country. And I'm assuming, because we're a part of the country, that even in this area in Santa Clarita, that's a large part. And then you've got, and here we go. Here's my hot box. It's on.
Should I get a soapbox for you?
Get me a soapbox
Okay.
to stand on, please. Thank you very much. Addiction. People overuse that and use it as an excuse, I believe, as a professional, for bad behavior. And let's go to sexual addiction. I think we need to have a whole show on sex addiction, because as soon as somebody gets caught, and if it's a public figure or somebody gets caught, oh my gosh, I'm a sex addict, I can't help it. So then they go to the $72,000 place or $30,000 or $40,000 place, and they get the wonderful meals, and they get somebody taking, it's like a resort, and somehow the consequences aren't there. Well, see, I couldn't help it, I was a sex addict. No, you cheated. You made a bad mistake. And I will tell you, I know there, even in my profession, there's still a lot of disagreement. But the Bible of mental disorders is called the DSM. And the newest DSM just came out, and they do not put sex addiction as an addiction. So there's no withdrawal from it. It's not on there. I don't know how you get insurance companies to pay for some of these expensive places, but the DSM does not honor that.
Do they also do like a 12-step program for sexual addiction, or the clinics, do they use the same thing, or is it, what do they do? And I know for other clinics, I mean, other like drugs, they definitely use the 12-step program. I was wondering, do they do that for the
They do liken it to the 12-step program. I'm just not in favor of it, but let me just say, I love the 12-step program. I think we should all be in the 12-step program. It's a great way to live. It's a great way to be responsible. So I really do like that. But I think somebody that says I'm a sex addict, that insults the true alcoholics and addicts that are really working a good 12-step program. So, it's one of the steps is to admit what you did and to make amends. And I don't know, too many people are hurt by cheating and affairs, and they kind of get left behind, and the other person gets the glory. Well, poor me, I'm a victim. And the real victim gets left behind with the pain. And, I'd just like to look at a little more responsibility when it comes to if you are in a committed sexual relationship. And we were talking the other day, and I asked you the question, we talked about hookups. And that's more of a millennial phase, isn't it?
These guys here probably know about hookups.
Do you all know about hookups?
They've heard of them, I'm sure. Yeah.
What exactly is a hookup? I know you go somewhere, you go to a bar, probably if you can't get into a bar, you go somewhere else and you meet somebody, and is the idea that you meet them to have a one-night stand?
That's the idea.
That's the idea. Okay.
Yeah, because what happens, they go there and they're not thinking about the future, they're thinking about the moment, and they find somebody and off they go. Okay.
Here's the problem. I think it's, that's fine. Anybody can have a one-night stand if you're responsible, you use protection. No judgment there. However, there's a turn to that, and I keep hearing from younger women, 20s to 40s, millennial women, and I hear about, I'm not interested in sex because there's no intimacy. So how are you going to have that if you have a hookup? You can go and meet somebody. And I know I am standing on my soapbox, but that's another one I've got. If you really want the intimacy, you're going to have to get to know somebody. But if you just want to, don't have any expectations about intimacy or emotional connection if you have a hookup. If you want to, that's fine. Hey, your choice. But
well, I think some people really miss the companionship of having a regular partner or a relationship, and they like that. They like to be comfortable with somebody. But for the hookups, they're not interested in that. They're just interested in going out. Now, I had heard this. I don't know if it's true. Maybe you've heard it because you were in Valencia. Is about the swingers in this town.
There is a huge community of swingers, and everybody says, "Oh, we don't talk about that," but there is. Great, that's fine. You know what I like about the swingers? They
No,
are.
what? I'm waiting for this one.
All right. I'm going to tell you. What I like is, and I've worked with swingers, and you know what I'd like? If anybody is in the lifestyle out there, call in or call in sometime and let us know that you could be a guest on the show. I'd like to talk about alternative sexual lifestyles. The one thing that I like about the swingers is generally they are in a committed relationship and the couple agrees to either watching other people have sex or having sex, but at least they're in agreement. One person isn't cheating on the other. So if you just kind of show up to an orgy or something, you're not a swinger. I'm sorry. But most are in a committed relationship, and this is their choice. What I have found working with couples, and because I do work with couples who are in somewhat distress, is that one is generally coerced into the lifestyle. And, if they're both into it and they say, well, let me try it out and see if they enjoy it, fine, great, wonderful. But yeah, let's open our eyes. It's definitely in this community, and hey, maybe the people next to you.
Yeah, that's right. I've heard that too. I've never seen any swapping at the restaurants or any place, the hookah lounges or wherever you are, But we're ready to take some calls. We're at KHTS. That's 298-5487. That's AM 1220. So please give us a call and we'll answer some of your questions.
We have some good stuff today.
We're doing good. Yeah.
Call us.